Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a huge favor. Welcome first. Then smash that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Reddit and Discord. And don't forget, leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Huge shout out to our sponsor, Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, field, or in the stands with a custom airbrush helmet or goalie mask or any type of project. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431.
And don't forget to tell them that Ray and Benny sent you. And I also keep forgetting to show the helmet. But check out Facebook. It's on there. Check out Instagram. It's on there as well.
Next week, if you don't wear it, there's going to be some kind of issue.
I'm not going to wear it at this point because it's sweaty and stinky in there right now. So I'll just show it.
No, you should wear it. Don't be scared. It's for a few seconds. What's one word you'd use to describe the Brady Oliveira signing? I'll go with eye-opening. The first reason was because it was expected by many, including us, that Oliveira would hit free agency. And it's not like a huge guess or anything. Oliveira kind of alluded that he's put the work in to see what his fair market value is, not quoting him exactly. But, here we are, early Christmas gift for a lot of Bombers fans. Signed for the next 2 years at least at 290 and 300, which is probably the second reason why it's a bit eye-opening for me. He was the highest paid running back last year at 240, so he's getting a sizable raise going to 290, and that's a good chunk of the salary cap going for two players behind the O-line that's currently not settled, was inconsistent last year, injured last year, showing some signs of age last year. And speaking of lines, the D-line is also expected to have a facelift or needed a facelift. For a couple seasons now, they've ranked at the bottom of the league in regards to pressure to quarterback, getting sacks. So I don't know. Does this handcuff the Bombers in regarding to upgrading their offensive line, keeping some, going out there and pursuing some other established free agents, and same as the defensive line? I don't know if that handcuffs the Bombers. Maybe, maybe not, or maybe they're going in planning on leaning on that scouting department and Danny McManus and bringing in some new talent like they do in the secondary almost every year. So it's eye-opening for me because of how we thought Brady Oliveira would hit the free agent market, and also because that's a lot of money now in that backfield.
I'm going to correct you on one thing. It's a 3-year deal.
There you go.
So, So for the first year, or for 2026 is 290. Then it goes to 300. And then there's guaranteed money in that final year of the deal.
Yeah.
It doesn't say how much. I don't think it's the whole 300, but there's guaranteed money. So that'll probably save him from getting cut. And not that he was going to probably get cut anyways in that time, right? So, yeah, it's huge money. I'm going to go with relieved because it's done. And there was always that fear of him hitting free agency and finding a better deal. I mean, he must have heard whispers out there of, hey, well, this is what you're kind of going to get offered, right? And then Bombers guaranteed that 3rd-year deal. And plus, it's a 3-year deal, right? So that's a lot of money for him to say, okay, I'm good not testing free agency. I'm not necessarily a huge fan, you talked about, of that contract, but at the same time, I'm relieved to have this core piece of the offense back. Now it's up to the Bombers to make sure that they use him properly this year. And I have the same questions that you do. What will this do for the O-line? Because you obviously need an O-line. You can only do so much as a running back if you do not have proper blocking.
Yeah.
Right. Same at the quarterback position. And where does this leave that D-line? Do you have enough money now to sign a Willie Jefferson or any of the other free agents? I know Reddick Cramdy just signed today as well. I didn't see the details of that deal, but that's another great move done for the Bombers, especially with the Canadian talent. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can do out of this money deal. Because, like you say, Claus is at least 600, right? Maybe more. We don't know. And now you got 900 tied into 2 players. So what's the cap at here? I meant to look that up and I got sidetracked.
Must be close to 6 now.
Yeah, it's just over 6 actually. There it was. So yeah, so $1 million's gone almost. So now you got 5 million to fill out the rest of your team. So we'll see where they go with that.
Just in regards to other Bomber free agents,
Sorry, you
Where do
had to
you
get this deal done though, right? I mean, you couldn't let this guy go. And I know the money's steep, but fan favorite, selling lots of jerseys, hometown boy. You know, it's hard to not sign him.
I don't think you had to get it done now, to be honest with you.
You probably didn't know, but you
No.
know, settle things down a little bit in Bomberland.
Why not be talked about? I'm not saying that you prolong contract talks, just to quell any kind of buzz going on in Barmerland. That'd be ridiculous. But I don't know. I don't know. Thought it was a bit surprising. Again, eye opening.
Yeah,
Who is the biggest
sorry,
bomb?
sorry, the few contracts that have been signed already are crazy. The fact that they're so early in the offseason with Keon Hatcher, Philpott, all these guys that have signed already. I mean, it's big money already being spent, and it's not even February yet.
A lot of teams though do try to lock down a lot of their quality Canadians early. They do not like to leave that to free agency. That's a rarity. They're
So I'm
big,
assuming,
they're big ticket free agents, that is. Or else, they decide early the other ones in the whatever week that is of free agency BS that's you get to negotiate and not negotiate and declare and not declare. We see a lot of Canadians boop going up early in that as well. So
that's true.
who is the biggest bomber free agent, potential bomber free agent that will probably land somewhere else?
I am worried now that it's going to be Evan Holm. Uh, I think his contract was just over 130 or somewhere around there last year. Um, and I feel like it's obviously he's going to be getting a raise off of that too. So now, like we talked about, you have these two guys signed. Like I mean, just looking at the guys, I feel like Dembski's going to sign, right? I don't think he's going anywhere. Stanley Bryan, if he plays again, will probably still be at the Bombers. Willie Jefferson's kind of up in the air, but I still feel like if the Bombers don't lowball him, he'll be back. So for me, Evan Holm is the guy that I'm hoping will be back in that free agency core for the Bombers. But I'm a little worried that maybe this is pricing him out.
Yeah. In regards to big names, I'm not worried about Evan Holm. They got to get that locked down. He's a Tyrese Beverett type player. Not in regards to he's a linebacker, but in regards to how many defensive plays he's involved in now. He's involved in so many tackles, pass breakups, even rushing the quarterback now. He's becoming that Swiss Army knife on the defensive side of the ball. I think the Bombers really have to focus on him. I'm more worried or I don't say worried, but Kyrie Wilson on the defensive side of the ball, I think due to injury and age, I think is a big name because big name in regards to him being here since 2017. He's been in the program for a long time, and the issue has been injuries over the past few years, although he did play 18 games this past season. The first time he's done that since 2017, 2019, their Grey Cup year. So I think that he could still provide for a team somewhere, but I don't think it'll be the Bombers. I think they'll save that money elsewhere and give someone else a shot. That linebacker, probably a young Canadian.
Well, they did draft. I mean, wasn't their first pick last year with a linebacker?
I think so.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, they still got some decent guys that are out there. Dietrich Nichols as well. You know,
Dalton Schoen.
Dalton Schoen. I'm not. Dalton Schoen to me is if you can get him for cheap, sure.
I think they will.
I'm not spending.
I think there's got to be some loyalty, or I'm guessing there's going to be some loyalty for a team that held on to him after a couple big injuries now. This is like the third big injury that he's been through with the team, and they've stuck with him. Maybe 2.5 injury size. But yeah, I think he'd be willing, maybe. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I won't hate to bring him back if you get him for a good price, but I don't want them signing him for the big deal that he's gotten over the last couple of years, right?
No,
so
that won't happen.
Yeah, because I mean, you obviously if you can bring Dalton Schoen back, you got Dembski, you got Ontario Wilson. Who am I missing here? Depends who else you bring back in that. You could have a pretty solid core there. Yeah. And Dalton Schoen was that security blanket for Zach Laurels when he's healthy, right? So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
Dembski was also a good security blanket, with or without.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Who is the top Canadian free agent out there? Why? And where will he end up? I'm going to say AJ Allen. When you have a defender that can play on pace, I mentioned this guy earlier, with Tyrese Beverett, who I think is the most dominant player currently in the CFL. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. He also has a Canadian passport. That's a rarity, and I think he's worth every penny. This dude makes plays like Mike O'Shea, or Kevin Iben or Enoch Muamba. And he'll align himself with those names even closer if he has a few more seasons like he did last year. And speaking of O'Shea, Iben, and Muamba, I can see AJ Allen landing in Toronto, especially if they don't keep what's his name, Winston McManus.
McManus.
Yeah, Toronto likes their good Canadian linebackers, so why not? So I say AJ Allen, best Canadian free agent out there, Toronto.
There is a lot of good Canadian free agents. Obviously, I mean it's going to happen every year, and I expect most of them to go back to their teams. Like Marc-Antoine Decoy, he'll probably end up back in Montreal. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Winnipeg, and even Stavros Kasastonis in Winnipeg. You need that safety back there, and that's what Bombers kind of didn't have. I know Cam Allen played well at safety last year for the Bombers, but you need that guy back there, like the Brandon Alexander type of guy. Players feared, so I wouldn't mind the Bombers, taking a shot at one of those two guys if they hit free agency. It's
Yeah.
hard to say. I think these guys are going to go back to their teams. I can't make a decision here. I got Samuel Emlis as well, but I think he ends up back in Saskatchewan. Ben Hladek probably ends up back in BC. I didn't really answer this question very well here. I'm just throwing out names.
I think the Bombers are really good with Cam Allen. I don't think they need to spend
Yeah,
extra on a safety when they have a good quality safety in
I
Cam
know,
Allen.
but those two guys are another level, man. They're a different level than what Cam Allen can be. I mean,
I
Cam
disagree.
Allen. Oh, that's fine. Cam
I
Allen
disagree.
can be that guy. Maybe he'll turn into it, but those two guys are difference makers back there right now that would help this defense a lot. Unfortunately, they're probably going to cost a lot, so I don't see it actually happening.
Yeah.
But if the Bombers can do it, I wouldn't mind them seeing going after those guys.
Yeah, no disrespect to those guys, but I think those guys get a huge highlight on them because they are Canadian. I
Oh
think
yeah,
like what remember what we had Tyler Loeffler and the Bombers
yeah.
lost him to Montreal and we're like, oh no, and then it was like, we're actually pretty okay, and they didn't overpay for Tyler Loeffler, and I think that's that situation there. I think maybe one or two teams will definitely overpay for that Canadian content, and someone like Toronto maybe, but I'm really comfortable with going maybe with a younger American who you're paying less, and who's steady out there, made big plays when they played Montreal, so yeah, I'm gonna say Cam Allen's a dude there, but hey, who knows?
And you were talking earlier about having to save money in different spots, so that could be the one spot where you're not going to overspend, right?
Yeah.
If you have the guy already, and if you can bring back your DBs that you had there last year for the most part, you're probably pretty set. And I think where the Bombers really, it has to be O line and D line where they're spending money otherwise this year.
Well, we were talking about that when the Oliveira deal was announced. I was like, well, they got to save money somewhere, and they have a
Yeah.
lot of DBs on this FA. And traditionally, the past couple of years with Richie Hall and Jordan Younger, they've really relied on them coaching up young DBs and having this rotation of DBs continuously come in and out of the door, some returning from going away and some young ones. So maybe that's where they're going to lean on Danny McManus, especially to bring in some DB talent and let those Hall and Younger coach them up.
Yeah, because we talked about Evan Holm, like what's he going to sign for? Probably around that 200 mark,
Yeah.
right? I mean, what did Terrell Ford get? Like 280, right?
Yeah.
And then Houston, when he left a couple years ago, Calgary was in that mid 200s as well, right? So,
What did Parker just get?
oh yeah,
200?
I didn't even check that one,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that could be where Evan Holm ends
Evan
up
Holm.
being right around there, right? So,
Yeah, I think so. And I think he's worth it.
yeah.
Thoughts on the Toronto Argos bringing on Jim Barker and John Hufnagel?
I mean, he got experience there, I guess.
Yeah.
I I didn't. What's Hofnagel's role? I know Barker's director of player personnel.
Yeah.
What's
Senior
Hofnagel?
senior advisor, something of whatever.
To me, though, Jim Barker still bothers me because that whole Chad Kelly situation. Um, where he made some kind of disparaging comments about, hey, they should probably be keeping, and it wasn't directed at the person who was sexually harassed by Kelly. It was about people making comments about Chad Kelly doing some kind of practice or something like that, and he said, oh, those people should be fined for speaking out against it and all that stuff. It's like, why are you even bringing guys like this back into this situation? It's time to
Yeah.
move on from guys like that and find new blood. And it's just like, I don't know what Toronto's doing exactly with building this front office kind of thing.
A lot of cooks in the kitchen. I know you would have something to say about these retreads, and it is getting crowded in that office. Like, who is in charge? Hufnagel is a senior advisor. So does that mean that dude is working from home or what? Does Pinball have the final say? No. What does Mike Miller? How much does he say in these personnel decisions? Like, I think it really shows a lack of confidence in the Mike Miller hiring. To be honest with you, it shows they
Yeah.
probably feel he doesn't have a strong pipeline to young talent, north or south of the border. It shows that they probably don't believe that he can create a culture short term within that organization. So they're bringing in guys like Barker and that Pinball is very familiar and comfortable with, and Hufnagel, who is a proven entity in Calgary, to build something there. Like, this is either gonna work or it's gonna be a disaster. And I'm leaning towards disaster.
Well, yeah, and you still have to think like, why did Dinwiddie leave, right? I mean, and the whole Chad Kelly situation last year with him being injured, and hey, he's close, and then he's injured again, and he's close.
Yes.
Like, was Dinwiddie against bringing Chad Kelly back? Did Dinwiddie, and then now Mike Miller, it's like, hey, you got to take we're going to offer you the job, but you have to bring Chad Kelly back and announce that he's your starter right away because he
Yeah.
did that. Why are you doing that right away? There was no need for it right now. So yeah, I think it's Mike Miller's the coach, but I think there's going to be a lot of guys in the background pulling those strings. And like you say, who's going to be pulling it and who's going to listen to, because it's going to end up being a mess. Or you got three big voices there right now with Barker, Clemens, and Hufnagel. So it'll be interesting.
Makes no sense.
I love it though. There's always got to be that
Uh,
one team.
and like you said, they'll probably win the Grey Cup.
Oh, they probably will.
With Saskatchewan bringing the Grey Cup back to the West after a 3-year hiatus, unfortunately. Where does the power balance lie in the CFL, the East or the West? I would say the West at the moment, if I'm looking at teams pre-free agency, because we don't know who is landing where. Like top four, Saskatchewan, Montreal, BC, Hamilton. I don't think you can't really argue with that. Maybe you can try. The rest are kind of beating each other up. Ottawa is the worst team, and Toronto is kind of in shambles. So I think that more than anything, that's what shifts the power back to the West, the Ottawa Toronto situation. You have half your teams that are just.
Yeah, I agree. It's in the West. I mean, every team had an opportunity last year in the West to make the playoffs. Toronto and Ottawa were eliminated with what, 2-3 weeks to go.
Yeah.
And Hamilton, as strong as they looked at some points last year, they also looked bad at some points, and they got smoked by the Bombers, right? And besides those three Grey Cup wins, like the losses for the Bombers in that stretch, I mean, the West was the better division,
Yeah.
right? It's just the Bombers were the favorites in those games, just couldn't get it done. So yeah, I think it's been in the West, and the Grey Cup obviously wins shifted it a little bit, but until Toronto or Ottawa, and I know Toronto won two of the last few Grey Cups, but they weren't always well. They were good the one season, but the other season they were not that great, And I think until they get more consistent, the balance of power is still going to remain in the West, and I expect more coming from the West again because Edmonton looks like they're on the rebound.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan obviously just won. BC looks good. Calgary had a good season, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think the West is still the power division.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, even with Fajardo in Montreal, I think Toronto and Montreal were still stronger than what was underneath Winnipeg.
Yeah,
BC was kind of meh. Saskatchewan was still meh until Mace came along 2 years ago. And even the year that he came, they still had a lot of hurdles to climb. I wouldn't take them in a Grey Cup game to beat Toronto or Montreal.
but Hamilton wasn't obviously last year they were better. The year before that they weren't very good, right?
Yeah.
So did they make the playoffs that
I
year?
think
Or
the
was there a
Bombers,
crossover?
like, the Bombers are really the only strong, consistent team in the West for the past 5 years, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I guess so. Calgary was pretty weak until last season too. So
The East had two at least.
there was, I don't know what it was, 2 or 3 years ago. I guess we did kind of think the balance was shifting to the East,
Yeah.
right, a little bit. So, but And then this season came and it's like, no, not yet.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Bomber fans, put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button and give us a like. Hit that thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. Let's move on to some Winnipeg Jets talk. What's one thing you loved and one thing that drove you nuts about the Jets this past week?
I loved Hellebuyck came back and the Jets played Washington and they played a great game. I loved it. They came out, they controlled the play, they limited the chances, limited the shots, played well defensively, probably for the most part that they have in a while. Played better defensively in front of Hellebuyck than they did with Comrie. And they got a power play goal. Yeah, the PK still gave up a goal, but they got a power play goal. They just controlled that game.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay, maybe they're turning a corner. They needed their security blanket back there to be able to play a bit better hockey. But then we go back to play Ottawa, and this is where it drives me nuts. They got back into their bad habits again, defensively, giving up, odd man rushes. First goal again, Luke Shen out of position, or Pion, whoever it was, out of position, gave up a good chance. Ottawa scores. Now you're winning this game 2-1 late in the game, and it's like they felt like they were just hanging on. And I know they had chances and opportunities to put that game away, and Allmark made some great saves. But even when the goalie was pulled, it's like, where are you guys on this defensively? And again, they went back to looking lost. And even in overtime, Nemestikov and Perfetti playing defense there. I don't know what they were doing. So again, it's like when they took one step forward, they took two steps back. And it drives me nuts again to watch them play the way they did for the most part against Ottawa.
For a team that prides itself on defensive play, you have too many teams scoring early and often against them. You have too many teams stringing 2 to 3 goal runs in a period against them. You're giving up 6 goals in a game against them. And you're letting goals in either early or late at the worst possible times. It makes no sense. And yes, love seeing Collar Hellebuyck come back. They're a totally different team, obviously. When the guy's your MVP and Vezina winner of the league, of course.
Yeah, and he had to make some great saves against Ottawa yesterday to keep that game 2-1 for as long as possible. And then he just gets beat on a weird one, deflected off a Scheifele's stick, and then in overtime he had no chance. Those are the games you got to win. Sorry, those are the games you got to win. You're winning 2-1 late at home. Can't blow those ones.
Panic level 1 to 10 for the season. I was 6. I want to see them play with Helly for a stretch before I go too crazy going to red zone, which it seems like a lot of Jets fans are going to red zone already. Let's just see a couple games with Helly in. Come on. And see if that inspires some kind of miracle transformation in the team, where they look like. See if they inspired hockey, rather than a group that's trying to consistently or constantly figure things out on the ice.
Yeah. I'm going to go at a 7.5, so I'm a little bit higher than you there. The top 3 spots are slipping away. They're pretty much gone. I mean, you're 10 points back. Colorado's looked good. Dallas has looked good. Now Minnesota just made a great trade for themselves. I think they're going to be tough to beat. So you're challenging probably for those 2 wildcard spots, which are only a couple points out. So it's right there. But, you can't give away games like they did yesterday. Those opportunities, you dropped a point. Yes, you got a point, but you still dropped one when that point was in your hand. So I don't know if they got to change the style of play that they've been playing with, this Arniel style, this hard ass style that Bonus brought over, but something has to kind of shift in this all. And yes, Hellebuyck's back. So let's see what they can do with him now that he is there. But I mean, their stretch coming up is going to be tough.
But we talked about the bulk of these mistakes being defensive inconsistencies and people being out of position. I don't understand why that falls on Scott Arniel, other than the fact that maybe you should try someone else who's not in the wrong position. But the fact that these players keep making mistakes, why? The coach can only do so much on game day, right?
Yeah. Oh, and for sure.
The system is proven. The system is proven.
Yeah. Well, it's not proven this year. It's not working.
Yeah, but we've talked about the bulk of the problems being the players making mistakes and not being in position. So why does that fall on the system and not on players?
Who's choosing these players?
That's what you said.
Well, that's the thing. Is Cheveldayoff telling him, hey, you need to play these guys? Is Arniel saying, hey, I'm going to keep playing Luke Shen instead of even Colin Miller?
Yeah.
or Salman. So like until we know who's making these decisions, and we probably will never know. But yeah, Chevy gave him this roster, and Arniel said, he even said, I can only deal with what I have, right? So that's fine. But are you continually putting these guys out when you can do other options? But
Yeah.
why is it always Luke Shen over Colin Miller? Like I've seen enough of Shen to know that he is a liability back
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
So it's like, why do you keep putting him in? Let's see Colin Miller even. I'd rather see Solomonson at this point, but that's not going to happen. So let's see Colin Miller for a stretch. Because the first goal yesterday was Luke Shen was on the ice.
Yeah.
Luke Shen left his spot. I don't know. Or they had two right D on the ice apparently or something, right? It's like, well, how does that happen? So
I'd much rather see a big shift in lines than I would a change in style of play.
yeah, I mean,
I think a change in style of play would be disastrous.
Well, it's not going to probably happen at this point, anyways. But you got to do something because this style of play and the players that are playing it is not working. And they've already went back to Velarde, Scheifele, and Connor. So that was what a 1-game trial, if that. So you trying to break up that top line from now on is probably just fruitless, right? There's no point in even talking about it. You have to figure out that bottom 9, right?
Yeah.
And you have to figure out Perfetti at this point and figure out what the heck is going on with that guy.
Absolutely.
And I keep saying the same thing with that, but it's just like that's your secondary scoring at this point, and he's not getting it done.
Again, I don't think it's a style of play.
It's something.
The
what
players.
It is. Yeah. Well, but there's nothing you can do. You're not getting rid of all these players unless you're calling up a heavy dose of Moose players.
I don't think you need a huge change. I don't think you need a half a roster change. Like, shake up these lines. Get some young guys on defense. We talk about these. Okay, let's talk about trade coming up. The Wild just traded. Then we'll probably talk about young guys. The Wild just traded for Quinn Hughes. Should the Jets look at making a similar type of deal with their prospects? Of course, they should look to, and maybe they are. But the questions will always be: will Quinn Hughes type caliber players want to come to Winnipeg? And there's no trade clause. Like, we can beat this subject to death, but I don't know how many good players are going to want to come to Winnipeg. So in regards to these prospects, start putting these prospects in the game already. Play them up to their waiver capabilities or max out their playing games, see what they can do, and then if they clear, try and trade them. But I just max out your young talent on the ice before you trade them, whatever young talent that they have. Because I don't think their options are a lot in regards to players like Quinn Hughes wanting to come to Winnipeg. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, but Minnesota's taking a chance on Quinn Hughes. He's not signed, right? They're taking a chance that he'll actually sign there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets may have to do that too, but you have like guys like Perfetti at this point. They didn't offer him a long-term contract, so maybe you include Perfetti and someone else in a deal, and you go after a guy that does not have a no trade clause yet built into his contract. Maybe he's a year in the league longer than Perfetti at this point, and then you see what you can get and if you can sign him. There's no really, if you trade for an RFA type guy, you have his control till whatever 26, 27, depending, or how much he's played in the league. So you may have to look at that and say, hey, right, Perfetti may not sign when he's done, but I do agree with you at this point. Nyquist is not getting it done. Why do you keep playing him? There's Walter. What was his name? I was going to look it up. Walter Dewar from the Moose, who's actually having a pretty good season with the Moose. It doesn't have to be Lambert or Chiprikov or anything like that. Walker Dewar. He's doing great. He's had some NHL experience a little bit, not a lot. Even Gustafson's putting up decent points with the Moose. He's probably not going to get another opportunity to come up here and play. But why not? He's still got a guy that may turn into something.
Yeah.
And we've said, hey, put Barron up, play higher, put Barron at center with Perfetti and see what can happen. But stuff like that, it's not happening. They shuffle those lines around, but it's not working anywhere. Taves is not working no matter where he is. So yeah, I don't know. You can shovel those guys as much, but it's not changing anything.
Yeah.
So yes, make a deal if you can. I know that Quinn Hughes types are not going to stay here probably, but sometimes you got to take a swing.
And maybe they have.
Maybe they have. But like I said, these RFA guys, they don't have control over their no trades yet, really, unless they've signed a long-term deal, which most of them haven't yet. So
yeah. Sorry. You said Quinn Hughes and similar type deal, so I didn't account for RFAs.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying a skilled, it's more so just make a move, right? at this point, especially if you think, okay, Perfetti's not going to work out. Let's pair him with, say, a Barlow and see what we can get. Right? Maybe you can get that second line center that's still. I know most people aren't training a second line center or whatever, but a young guy that's kind of grow into that role.
Isn't there a winger from Carolina that people keep telling the Jets to trade for?
Who's that?
I think it start with a K. Oh, to lunch on hockey right now. Whatever. We'll post it on Twitter later or X. Looking at the Jets' next 5 games, what will the record be? They got St. Louis, Colorado, Utah, Minnesota, and Edmonton. St. Louis, Colorado, away?
Utah away, yeah.
Utah away, Minnesota, Edmonton, home.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're losing probably to Colorado, Minnesota, and Edmonton. I'll say 0-3 right there. You may be able to steal 2 of those games but beat St. Louis and Utah. But Utah, to me, has played stronger. You're on the road. I think they may go 1-4 on this stretch.
Wow.
Yeah, unless Hellebuyck can steal a couple.
And he can, because he's Connor Hellebuyck.
But Colorado and Edmonton, I think, will be tough no matter what, because there's the offensive power. Minnesota has been looking good lately. Utah's kind of dropped off since they played them. So
Minnesota has been looking good lately. So you're gonna go 1-4? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 2-2-1. I think Connor Hellebuyck will steal a couple games, not necessarily straight out wins, but I think a shootout win in a grinder against St. Louis is possible. Straight up loss against Colorado. Win against Utah, but I think they'll make it harder on themselves like they usually do, playing against teams that are a little bit... And I'm thinking shootout loss to Minnesota, same reason. Minnesota's looking pretty strong right now, and straight up loss in Edmonton. So 2 wins, St. Louis and Utah, 2 losses, Colorado and Edmonton, and a shootout loss against Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope they can steal. Well, not steal. They can beat St. Louis or Utah, and even take one of those guys to overtime. But Colorado 7-1-2 in their last 10. Minnesota 7-2-1. And Edmonton's starting to turn things around. They're 6-3-1. So, and Utah, hasn't been playing well, and St. Louis hasn't been playing well. So maybe you can get 2-3, but I think those other 3 games are going to be freaking tough.
Yeah. I think they'll squeeze a rivalry, a shootout loss against Minnesota. I think they'll keep it close. And like you say, Hellebuyck will have a good string here now. I think they're ready to go.
We'll see. Minnesota's getting tough goaltending, too, from what's his name? Jesper Wallstad or whatever. That guy's been like a wall back there. He shut out the Jets last time, too, right? So.
And if you're going to have guys like Shen out there playing on defense, can you tell him to go kick someone's ass in their own defensive zone? It makes no sense. Guys standing around like pylons, you have that kind of size. Hit someone.
You know what?
Which way? See, now we're about to end the show and I'm starting to get mad.
Let's end off on a good note. Let's shout out Logan Stanley and his goal scoring prowess lately.
Your boy, Logan Stanley. That's your boy.
He's had 6 goals. He's just the only ones above him are Velarde, Connor, and Scheifele, man. That's crazy. Maybe they should throw him at forward. See what he can do. I think I saw that on Twitter, actually. That's why it's in my head. So
all I gotta say is that's your boy. That's your boy.
I can't even talk bad about him right now. I don't defensively wise, but at least he's chipping in goals. Yeah, he's doing something.
Effort's there. Yeah, he's putting effort. If everyone put in some Logan Stanley effort, we might be a couple of games better.
Yeah, I mean it's better than what Luke Schen's been doing out there. So,
Winnipeg Jets fans, any new Logan Stanley fans out there? Don't forget
to get those jerseys.
Benny, you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget subscribe and follow, and have a good week. And go Jets, go.
And in the words of Ed Whalen, in the meantime, in the between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.